Welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my movie review for Shudder's original film called The Sadness. This originally aired in 2021 in a couple of, I guess you would call them, film festivals, and I think it had mixed reviews. It definitely had interesting reviews. I was excited to review this, but I'm not so sure how to get people excited for this film because it's wow. Anyway, let me know your thoughts if you've seen this or when you see this, what your thoughts were on this. But for now, let's jump in. A young couple trying to reunite amid a city ravaged by a plague that turns its victims into deranged, bloodthirsty sadists. Okay, so if you think Train to Busan, then you embellish that like by 10 times. Think of old Fubar films. Think Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. Then that's kind of in the zone for this film. It has a real tenseness to it that works really well. That's because every time our two main protagonists encounter one of these people that are plagued, that have turned into sadists, you're wondering what's going to happen to them or what they're going to run into, what they're going to be doing to people. And possibly like some of the worst things that you can imagine, that's what they do. You don't always see it though. It plays with the camera. You think once you've watched the film, you think you've seen it all. But if you go back, you will recognize that you've only seen some of it. Some of it is more like, this is what I'm going to do with dialogue. They say it with dialogue and then it happens off camera. But that's almost worse because your imagination is almost worse. Saying that, this is probably in the top 5 goriest films I've ever seen. So I'm not saying that they don't show it. They just, that kind of face melting, squishy, pulling off flesh, eyeballs, broken bones. You get to see all that. So if that's your thing, then you're in for a treat. But it did take me back. I was like, gosh, and not just gore for the sake of gore, but the things that people were doing with bodies. I was just like, wow. And that's the reason why it kind of works. It's not your typical sort of zombie film. Plague has attacked a part of the brain which people's inhibitions just are gone. The worst parts of that person are now realized, and they will do everything nasty to a person possible. So they have their wits about them, they have their brains, they can think, I just want to hurt you or want to do really nasty things to you, even at hurting themselves. And so it's really gross. I mean, it's really, really gross. I wouldn't recommend this to any of my family at all. Like, if you're watching like this for most of the film and you've seen quite a few horrors, you understand the zone or the realm you're getting into with this film. The reason why I mentioned Train to Busan is because there is that kind of chase. From the beginning, our protagonists, which you kind of care about, but it doesn't take that much time to establish them. They are a young couple. They had a little bit of a fight in the morning, but they're still together. He drops her off at the train station. She's got to catch a train into work. He goes back home, and that's when the play kind of starts shifting into gear, and his job is to go and find her and try and save her. Now, the thing is, they've also got to avoid catching the plague, so there is that added intensity to it. And as you see people, how long it takes them, you realize that the plague doesn't take very long, maybe a couple of minutes to kind of get into your body, and then you start saying things that you wouldn't normally say, and then you start acting like, and then suddenly it switches over, and you're like, wow. There's a train sequence, like on a train, that I was just like, yeah, this is, don't eat beforehand or don't eat during. You get affected easily by gore. This is not the film for you. To go into the cinematography and the filmmaking, the acting for the most part I thought was very good. There's one particular guy who is so menacing and seems to be maybe the main antagonist. He rarely creeps you out, so that's great acting. Our two main protagonists, we don't get much backstory into them. It's more about the chase. The filmmaking more comes into how you are filming chase sequences, and I thought they did that very well. There's not a lot of shaky cam, which is great, but instead it's still very intense. And when it comes down to the prosthetics and makeup, that's where this film, obviously shines, because they use buckets and buckets of blood and bits of meat and human bodies in various different contorted ways. So that's kind of what you're getting. It had really mixed reviews. So some people's like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I don't know how we've gone back to those old Fubar films. And some people like, this is a film that is managing to push the fence of boundaries of what we can have on screen and still have a film and get away with it. and they were applauding it for its, I guess, its intensity and creativity that way. If you don't get offended very easily or shocked very easily, then I think this will be up there with you. Oh, I'm intrigued. I think a lot of people enjoy it, for those that like really like that dark stuff. I don't know that I think I'll ever watch it again. I'd much rather watch Train to Busan, because that was as intense enough for me, and it's a fantastic film. This one is just, it's too much for me. I don't know how to rate this. I almost wanted to give it an exempt Nicolas Cage out of 5. I think as a film, for what it manages to accomplish, it's probably a 3 Nicolas Cages out of 5. But other than that, I could go either way. So I'm gonna stick down that kind of middle path. Interesting trivia point for this film: the funds were raised to film this film. The funds were raised through cryptocurrency and through the producer's business of his cam girls. And so that just adds another interesting fact there for you. I won't form any opinions around that. I'm just giving it out there for you, so you can form your own opinions about that. I just thought it was an interesting point, and I'm going on too long about that. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for watching this review. Let me know if you're going to watch it. I'd be interested to know, what is your top 5 goriest films you've ever seen that you enjoy? Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.